Approved a measure to strengthen the state's eminent domain laws to protect landowners.
Good morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. I'm racing around here this morning, but we're ready to go.
And they would have to seek mediation with landowners before filing for eminent domain. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Tom Rooney.
The news never stops. Kello, News Talk 1320, 107.1.
Okay.
By Window World, nationally known, locally owned. Call today for a free estimate on energy-efficient windows.
Cold weather advisory for the early morning hours, as we'll have wind chills in the minus 20s and the minus 30s. Sunshine this afternoon, high temperature at 12, light west winds at 5 to 15. We'll fall to 8 below tonight, mostly clear, mostly sunny and warmer tomorrow. High temperature of 25, south winds of 10 to 20. From the Kelloland Storm Center.
Okay, I think we're set. We'll find out in a minute.
Now is Kello. Our addresses are AM 1320, FM 105.1, and worldwide at Kello.com. The Doctor of Discernment is on the air.
I love the Greg Belfrage Show.
I've been listening to you for years, Greg. Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed.
You sound a little taller on radio. Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time.
I don't believe in a no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Bel.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show, Thursday, February 20th. The big story this morning is the talk of a new mill prison in South Dakota, and Governor Roden yesterday. He does a news conference every week during the legislative session. And so he did this yesterday. And talking about, in fact, I'm going to share some of the audio with you coming up later this morning because I want you to hear some of this. So he was talking about legislation. One piece that he has signed about giving the Department of Corrections a longer name. And this had passed. The Senate voted 35 to nothing last week to rename it the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. And so the governor talked about that, said that rehabilitation and the focus on rehabilitation is important, he said. And he said legislators from both parties want to emphasize that the role of the DOC is to focus on rehabilitating people, he said. We want to rename DOC the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. Then we need to back those words with actions. We need to put our money where our mouth is, Governor Roden said. And then he also talked about the prison. And he said a new prison is the most important thing that his administration can do for the people of South Dakota. And he said, the unfortunate truth is rehabilitation is not possible in the current state penitentiary. The facility is Gothic, it's old and decrepit. It was never designed for classrooms or mental health or addiction counseling. It was built to incarcerate, not to rehabilitate. A new modern prison will change that. He said we'll be better able to take care of people and help them re-enter society successfully, and they will have the opportunity to achieve success for themselves, their families, and their communities. He said this will make South Dakota communities safer. Successful rehabilitation will lead to less crime. Less crime will lead to safer communities, and safer communities will lead to a stronger South Dakota. Oh, I like this guy. I mean, seriously. He said, so he went on. Again, we'll play a portion of his news conference yesterday. And he was asked questions. He spoke about the prison for a few minutes, was asked some questions by the media and then brought up some others who had specifics to talk about it. And I thought that'll be worth sharing with you in longer form this morning. So we'll do that coming up later in the show today. So also, and you just heard, Tom Rooney covering these things from the Kello.com News Center. Also coming up today, the legislature's Joint Committee on Appropriations will receive a presentation this morning about the Department of Corrections plan then with the new men's prison in Lincoln County. So this is set for 11 a.m. this morning. And we'll see where it goes from there. So this issue of a new state prison is a big one. And again, the governor using his weekly address yesterday to talk about the need for the new prison. He had the senior aides that were up there with him. And one of them, Ryan Bruner, told reporters that comparisons to a less expensive prison in Nebraska are based on prices that are 4 years old. And so, again, I want you to be able to hear that for yourself. And then you make so you can hear what's going on and what the debate is. So that is a big story this morning. Also, over at Dakota News Now, Senator Kevin Jensen is also out there. He would like to put a moratorium on the spending on any spending on the prison project until December of this year. So he's got one bill that would do that. Another would create a task force to provide an independent review of the, correction projects. And he said the previous task force consisted of 15 lawmakers and few stakeholders. He said he wants more DOC staff, law enforcement officers, and members of the unified judicial system on any future task force. And so he told Austin Goss of the South Dakota, Austin Goss is doing a reporting for the South Dakota Broadcasters Association during this year's legislative period. And so he told South Dakota Broadcasters that the area for the project is a poor choice due to its rural location. And he said it isn't just about the location. It's a little problematic because of services. There's no ambulance service, really. There's only one ambulance in Canton. Fire support, SWAT, all those things are limited, he said. He said rehabilitation services should be the focus of the state instead of just creating new beds. And this is what I was just saying. The governor actually is in agreement about that. And he said, we're not really focusing on rehabilitation. No, we're not. But again, the reality is with the current prison, you can't. How do you focus on rehabilitation with the current prison? You can't. You can't. The thing is, as the governor said, it's Gothic, it's outdated. So you can't focus on rehabilitation in the current prison. Hence, one of the compelling reasons that you need a new one. So there's a lot of agreement on a lot of this and a lot of disagreement. So I think the state is trying to work its way through this, as well as local, state lawmakers. I think are being very, they're honestly trying to work their way through this. So we'll see where it goes from there. That's a big step. That's a very big issue for our state. Also, Representative John Hanson of Del Rapids asking lawmakers to pass a resolution. He wants an interim committee to do a deeper dive into property taxes. And he said this would be made up of several lawmakers, the commissioner of the Bureau of Finance and Management, neither the governor or lieutenant governor or their, or they would designate somebody. And he said he hopes the committee could find a long-term solution to South Dakota's property tax issue. Others, there are a number of local stories with the legislature in session. Certainly important. The Dakota Scouts got a story about the legislature rejecting bills to raise. These were two bills that were debated in the state Senate yesterday. Both addressed the age of adulthood. One bill would have moved the age of legal marriage up to be 18. In the other, a bill would have moved the legal age to buy a lottery ticket to 21. Both of those failed in the legislature. Also, the Dakota Scout has also got a story about the debate in Sioux Falls about a fence around the homeless shelter near downtown Sioux Falls. City of Sioux Falls, the city council, considering a proposal from the mayor's office that would construct a $70,000 fence around the homeless shelter. Also, other stories. Lawmakers approving internet. You would need to verify your age if you are, a porn sites would have to ask adults to prove their age. And more than a dozen states have passed or are considering then these kinds of laws requiring porn sites to ask adults for personal information in order to prove their age. And South Dakota is one of those states. Also, a South Dakota House advanced a bill regarding bathroom use, would prohibit transgender people from using restrooms or changing rooms that are opposite of their birth sex. So you were born a male, in other words, can't use Searchlight. South Dakota Searchlight has a problem with their terminology. Also, and you heard Tom Rooney talking about this, a big story at KELOLAND.com also this morning. The 16-year-old boy who was found dead from exposure in Tripp County. That's just sad. So authorities say that on noon on Sunday, they received a call regarding an abandoned vehicle. You know how cold it was over the weekend. So authorities say the vehicle appeared to have become stuck in tire ruts and brush, and the driver of the vehicle, who was a 16-year-old boy, was found about 150 yards from the vehicle, and he was sadly pronounced dead due to exposure. So that's a quick look at local stories this morning. And again, we'll touch on those in more detail coming up later in the show this morning. Also, President Trump and Vladimir Zelensky. All right, I'm going to share what Donald Trump had said on Truth Social. And Trump yesterday saying, think of it, a modestly successful comedian, Vladimir Zelensky, talked the United States into spending $350 billion to go into a war that couldn't be won, that never had to start, but a war that he, without the U.S. and Trump, will never be able to settle. The United States has spent $200 billion more than Europe, and Europe's money is guaranteed, while the United States will get nothing back. Why didn't sleepy Joe Biden demand equalization, in that this war is far more important to Europe than it is to us. We have a big, beautiful ocean of separation. On top of this, Zelensky admits that half the money we sent him is missing. He refuses to have elections, is very low in Ukrainian polls. Yeah, 4%. I mean, even President Joe Biden's polling was higher than 4%. He's at 4%, little over 4%. It's crazy. So President Trump says Zelensky refuses to have elections, low in the polls. The only thing he was good at was playing Biden like a fiddle. A dictator without elections. Zelensky better move fast, or he is not going to have a country left. In the meantime, we are successfully negotiating an end to the war with Russia, something all admit only Trump and the Trump administration can do. Biden never tried. Europe has failed to bring peace, and Zelensky probably wants to keep the gravy train going. I love Ukraine, but Zelensky has done a terrible job. His country is shattered, and millions have unnecessarily died. And so it continues. Donald Trump says on True Social. So you've got Zelensky then responding to that, and and he's saying that things about Donald Trump's out of touch, and he doesn't. And it's like, wow, I think Mr. Zelensky, I think you're the one who is grossly out of touch with what it is that's actually happening. Also, the president signed an executive order late yesterday, ending the use of taxpayer money for federal resources supporting illegal immigration and illegal aliens. And the Trump administration says this is to ensure taxpayer resources are used to protect the interests of American citizens, not illegal aliens. So under this order, federal departments and agencies must identify and end all federally funded programs providing financial benefits to illegal aliens. Also aims to ensure federal funds are not being used to support sanctuary policies. And so that fight will continue. President again signing an executive order cutting all taxpayer-funded benefits for illegal immigrants. Also, the president weighing a Doge dividend. In other words, and this is something that was floated to Elon Musk. He was asked about this question, and Elon Musk said, I'll take it to the president. The idea that with all of the savings, all of the taxpayer savings that Doge is finding, do you pay a dividend to American taxpayers and show them, we're returning some of your money to you? And so Donald Trump is considering this. He talked about it yesterday. He said, this was a speech he was giving in Miami Beach. He said, there's even under consideration a new concept where we give 20% of the Doge savings to American citizens and 20% goes to paying down debt, Trump said. He said, the numbers are incredible, Elon, so many billions, hundreds of billions, and we're thinking about giving 20% back to the American citizens. So I asked you on Facebook this morning, what would you think of this Doge dividend and getting some of that money back? I think it's an interesting question. I would love to see your responses. And again, you can share those with me this morning on Facebook or drop me an email, of course, anytime. greg.belfrage@kelo.com is my email address. Also, other stories this morning, you've got Hamas handing over the bodies of 4 Israelis who are dead, including one woman and her 2 young boys who were killed. You got Hamas claiming, oh, it was Israel who, in their attacks against Hamas, it was Israel who killed these hostages. But the number of hostages who have been killed and being returned is, I think, both infuriating and heartbreaking to me. Also, there's big news this morning. Apple is launching the iPhone 16e mid-year. Typically, they do these in September. And so I think, is this later today or tomorrow? I'm trying to remember. It'll take place either today or tomorrow. That may be likely tomorrow. So the iPhone 16e, for those of you who are iPhone users, 16e is designed, it's going to be a lot less expensive than previous editions of the iPhone. In fact, a lot of people are commenting on the price. Also, Straight Arrow News, the president's approval rating is falling in the latest Reuters Ipsos poll. Well, what a surprise, left-wing Reuters. So approval is falling. 44% of respondents approve of the Trump of the job that the president's doing so far, but his approval fell 1 percentage point. And since Inauguration Day, the number of people who disapprove of the job the president is doing surged from 41 to 51%. So the number of people who disapprove of the job Trump's doing. What exactly? I just don't. These polls, to me, media is making a lot of this, and it's a big story this morning. But I think to many of us, it's really kind of irrelevant. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. 627, currently 11 below. It feels like 26 below at Kello.
Weeknights 5 to 8. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Had more I wanted to share, but I got wrapped up in that prison issue. That's a big issue. And I think with things that we see happening, the comments from the governor and also from Kevin Jensen, it's worth sharing with you. Big issue for the state.
And transition your operation. It's how we've become one of the nation's strongest community banks. Learn more at firstpremier.com/ag. First Premier Bank, member FDIC.
It's time to taste pizzeria creations from 11 different eateries in the Sioux Empire and vote for your favorite pizza. The 2025 Pizza Battle is on February 3rd through the 28th, and bragging rights are on the line. Plus, a portion of the proceeds support local charities. Brought to you by these fine eateries: Invictus, Tomaselli's, Dario's, Marco's, Bosses, and Valentino's. The 2025 Pizza Battle. Taste all the pizzeria creations and vote for your favorite at Kello.com.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there too to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Well, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices. Just $189.
I
actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Cold weather advisory for the early morning hours with wind chill values in the -20s and -30s. That will improve throughout the day. Plenty of sunshine today, high temperature at 12, west winds of 5 to 15. Clear skies tonight will fall to 8 below. Mostly sunny tomorrow and a high temperature of 20.
And in Sioux Falls at 6:30, it's 11 below, feels like 26 below. News headlines coming up fast. You're listening to Kello.
President Trump's Russia-Ukraine envoy Keith Kellogg is in Kyiv to meet with President Zelensky about bringing the war with Russia to an end. Trump's again calling Zelensky
a dictator without elections. Zelensky better move fast or he's not going to have a country left. Got to move fast because that war is going in the wrong direction.
The president at an investors conference in Miami. A judge in Idaho denies Brian Kohberger's request to throw out DNA evidence in his quadruple murder case.
The defense arguing that Kohberger's constitutional protection against unreasonable search and seizure was violated because his DNA was collected without a warrant. The judge found there is no reasonable expectation of privacy when it comes to evidence collected at a crime scene.
Dowling with Fox 13 Seattle. Kohberger is accused of stabbing 4 college students to death at a home in 2022. The trial set to start in August. America's listening to Fox News.
From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Tom Rooney. Our recent cold snap has claimed the life of a 16-year-old boy in Tripp County. His body was found near an abandoned vehicle just north of the Nebraska border. It appears his vehicle became stuck. Family members found him about 150 yards away
that's
from the
more
vehicle.
like it.
From Pier today, he calls it the most important thing the state can do for public safety. Governor Larry Roden is urging the legislature to approve funding for a proposed new men's penitentiary in Lincoln County. The legislature's Appropriations Committee will take up the funding measure this morning. All that's needed now is the governor's signature on another matter. The South Dakota Senate unanimously passed a bill requiring pornographic websites to verify the age of people trying to access those sites. Bill's sponsor, Representative Bethany Soy of Sioux Falls, says it's an effort to protect minors from the harms of pornography.
I'll be the first one to admit you will not stop every child from getting through. And I think that's an unreasonable standard. But what we as the state want to do is make sure that the businesses actually had something in place and did age verification.
The bill already passed the House and now goes to Governor Larry Roden for his signature. And they're planning the future for Sioux Falls Parks and Recreation, and they want to hear from you. Parks and Rec Department leaders have been working on the 2030 Park System Master Plan for several months. Project Manager Mike Patton says it's a tool that will be heavily used.
This plan doesn't just sit on our shelf, right? It's a tool we use every day. Access to year-round recreation was a key recommendation from our last plan.
You can complete an online survey or attend an open house next Monday evening from 5:30 to 6:30 at the new West Side Recreation Center. We have more information on that at Kello.com. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Tom Rooney.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Cold weather advisory for the early morning hours, as we'll have wind chills in the -20s and the -30s. Sunshine this afternoon, high temperature at 12, light west winds of 5 to 15. We'll fall to 8 below tonight, mostly clear, mostly sunny and warmer tomorrow. High temperature of 25, south winds of 10 to 20. From the Kelloland Storm Center, I'm Scott Muntz.
What was that?
I just want to bring up a point here.
This is where to go when you've got something to say.
You're going to have to tell these people what they want to know.
Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Here's everything you need to know about Apple's newest iPhone, the 16e. I'm Ken Commando for LinkedIn Jobs. Post your job for free and find qualified candidates quickly at linkedin.com/Kim. If all of the Apple iPhone 16 models are too rich for your budget, consider the just unveiled iPhone 16a. Now, it's still a lot of money, but instead of $1,600 for the top-of-the-line iPhone 16 Max Pro, the 16e sells for under $600. What you won't get in a less expensive 16e is so many camera controls for special effects, like wide-angle shots. You won't get the trendy all-glass front and back case or Wi-Fi 7. But who cares? None of that will make the phone substantially better for the average person. Still in the 16E, you will get Apple's new 5G modem for better video download and file transfer speeds. The iPhone 16E orders begin this week, and the phone's in the stores February 28th. Stay tech ahead with my free newsletter. Sign up at getkim.com. As a small business owner, you don't have the luxury of clocking out early. Your business is on your mind 24/7. So when you're hiring, you need a partner that grinds just as hard as you do. That hiring partner is LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates that you can manage all in one place. Their new feature can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people. Either post your job for free or pay to promote. Promoted jobs get 3 times more qualified applicants. At the end of the day, the most important thing to your small business is the quality of candidates. And with LinkedIn, you can feel confident that you're getting the best. Find out why more than 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring today. Find your next trade hire on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Kim. That's linkedin.com/Kim to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Do it today. Post your job for free at
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, with 2 locations to make sure you have the proper traction this winter.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Andersen Picture and Combination Windows. Optimizing a beautiful view and light in a bedroom, kitchen, or living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls. Call 605-646-2667 today.
ABC Seamless. Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices. Just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN.
Okay.
During tax season, your personal info travels to a lot of places you can't control. Between payroll, your home office, your tax preparer, and the IRS, if your W-2 gets exposed, that's just the ticket for identity thieves. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed or your money back. Don't let identity thieves take you for a ride. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code PLAY. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Entertaining talk, news when it happens.
That's what you'll always get on Kello Radio, and you can even get more at Kello.com.
In-depth stories, podcasts, and more.
For more of South Dakota, go to Kello.com. Kello News Talk through
6:38, and it's cold again this morning, 11 below. It feels like 26 below. But hang in there. We're looking at warmer temps as we move into the weekend. So I hope you have some fun plans coming up this weekend. I have to keep reminding myself it's one of those mornings. No, it's not Friday. It's Thursday. Yeah. I don't know why this week is seeming so long. Anyway, I hope you have some fun planned for yourself coming up this weekend. Weather is going to be a lot. It's going to be cooperating with us coming up.
trending now.
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News.
Top trending story this morning, President Trump calling Vladimir Zelensky a dictator without elections. Donald Trump said in a Truth Social post, and I shared that with you a few minutes ago, but he said, think of it, a modestly successful comedian, Vladimir Zelensky, talked the United States into spending $350 billion to go into a war that couldn't be won, that never had to start, but a war that he, without the U.S. and Trump, will never be able to settle, the president said. And then he Said on top of this, Zelensky admits that half of the money we sent him is missing. He refuses to have elections. So you have had Zelensky then, well, the president also saying yesterday that Zelensky is grossly incompetent. And he said, and some of these comments I shared with you yesterday about, talking about the war and the president then saying, today I heard, oh, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it. Should have never started it. You could have made a deal, he said. So then Zelensky going after Trump, saying that the president is living in Russia's disinformation space. And he said, unfortunately, President Trump, with all due respect for him as the leader of a nation that we greatly respect, is living in this disinformation space, he said. I think he's the one who's in the twilight zone. Also, President Trump saying yesterday, he likes the idea of giving some of the savings that the Department of Government Efficiency is finding back to U.S. citizens. I asked you that question on Facebook this morning. We're going to open up the phone lines here later, talk about it. I'm really curious to get your thoughts. So the president was at an investment conference in Miami, and he said the administration considering a concept in which 20% of the savings produced by Doge goes back to American citizens. Another 20% goes to pay down the national debt. Trump also said the potential for dividend payments would incentivize people to report wasteful spending. And the president said they'll be reporting it themselves. They participate in the process of saving us money. So he was asked by a reporter about the plan, because Elon Musk, it wasn't Elon Musk who came up with it. It was someone, and forgive me, I forget. It was someone had posed the question to Elon Musk, and he said, intriguing question. I'll pose that to the president. Elon Musk said, and the president saying he loves the idea. So whether anything comes of that, the Doge dividend, and I've got mixed feelings about it. Not that I don't love to get more of my money back. I absolutely do. I think a good point is being made. Will you find more people then supportive of these things that Trump is doing? If taxpayers start to receive those kinds of dividends, how would people react to that? For all the people that hate Trump, assuming there is a Doge dividend, right? So just for the sake of argument, let's say there is going to be a Doge dividend. I'll be eager to see whether all these people who hate President Trump are going to be returning their Doge dividends, once they receive them. But I've wondered about that. I thought, would I want to get some of my money back? Generally, getting money back, absolutely. I would love to. And yet, or would I rather see more of that money rather than, apparently what they're considering is 20% going back to American taxpayers, 20% to pay down the deficit. And so, part of me thinks, why not 40% all to pay down the deficit? Now, we'll talk about that. We'll get your take on it coming up later this morning. We'll open up the phone lines after 7. Other big stories trending this morning: Hamas releasing the bodies of 4 Israeli hostages including the youngest captive in Gaza, was taken when he was just 9 months old. And this is just sad. These, you got toddlers who were killed, died in captivity. How they were, how they died, we don't know at this point. But also, the nomination of Kash Patel to lead the FBI advanced by the Senate this week. So he is very likely then to win confirmation, because up until now, the Senate voted 48 to 45 along party lines. And Democrats have said that Kash Patel is Donald Trump's most controversial nominee. So Democrats have been able to slow the process, not been able to stop it. Also, Apple announcing the iPhone 16e, newest entry-level smartphone. This is the third generation iPhone SE. It succeeds the iPhone SE, which is now discontinued. So the iPhone 16e features a larger display and also a lower price point. Other stories trending this morning: federal prosecutors have charged 7 members of a South American crime gang that broke into the homes, prosecutors say, of Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, several other top athletes across the country. This has been a big story, as you know, for the last number of months. And top sports stars across the country have been left fearing for their safety in the middle of a number of burglaries. So 7 illegal aliens reported to be from Chile. They're part of a Chilean theft group charged with stealing valuables worth more than $2 million in a series of high-profile burglaries. Also, did you hear about the meltdown of Chris Kluwe? Kluwe spent 8 seasons in the NFL as a punter for the Minnesota Vikings, so his name would be familiar to many. He spoke out in protest of a MAGA plaque at a city council meeting in Huntington Beach, California. And he gave a pretty fiery speech and then started to walk up to the front toward the city council, when he was met by officers, placed in handcuffs, and escorted out of the council chamber. So the proposed plaque outside a public library would feature the words magical, alluring, galvanizing, and adventurous next to each other. And the signage would say, "Through hope and change, our nation has built back better to the golden era of making America great again." And you know whose slogan that is. So Chris Kluwe having a meltdown over. I understand you might not like it, but the way people behave just makes me shake my head. All right, other stories that are trending this morning. The SS United States, the historic ocean liner, is begun its journey down the Delaware River on its way out of Philadelphia yesterday. And she is destined then to become the world's largest artificial reef. And so tugboats, help the fish, or excuse me, the vessel get going. And it's been a staple along the Delaware River in South Philadelphia for about 30 years. So there are a lot of eyes on the journey of the SS United States. But again, it will wind up becoming, rather than going to the scrapyard, it will be turned into the world's largest artificial reef. Also, the U.S. Department of Agriculture will be rehiring the inspection service frontline employees that had fired over the weekend so that they can continue their work on the avian flu outbreak. So these employees were fired over the weekend, and so now they are being rehired, and they're announcing this. USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service frontline positions are considered public safety positions. We are continuing to hire the workforce necessary, they said, to ensure the safety, adequate supply of food, and so on. Also, the Trump administration taking an axe to New York City's controversial congestion pricing plan. The president posted on Truth Social, congestion pricing is dead. Manhattan and all of New York is saved. Long live the king, Trump says. Well, this is not sitting well with New York's Governor Kathy Hochul. She was reacting with rage to this, and frankly, I heard the response earlier this morning and I laughed out loud. And so it's just, I mean, you see people like Kathy Hochul that suddenly like they're champions of defending liberty and reacting to what Trump's doing. It's just I just laugh. Seriously, I love watching those folks wig out. Also, Lori Chavez DeRemer, who is President Trump's pick to head the Department of Labor, told lawmakers yesterday if she's confirmed, she would respect state right-to-work laws. She had previously backed a bill that would have repealed laws allowing workers to opt out of labor unions, and now she's saying she'll respect state right-to-work laws. Also, the Senate voted to confirm Wall Street investor Howard Lutnick as President Trump's Commerce Secretary, and this took place pretty much along party lines earlier this week. So Lutnick becomes President Trump's 17th cabinet nominee to win confirmation. Also, when I shared this with you yesterday, it's still trending this morning, President Trump directing the Justice Department to fire all U.S. attorneys left over from the Biden administration. He said that the Justice Department has been politicized like never before. And so the president said he wants the termination of all remaining Biden-era U.S. attorneys. We must clean house immediately and restore confidence. Sean Diddy Combs back in the new news, and his defense attorneys are saying the federal prosecutors singled out Combs because he's black, and that they're demonstrating bad faith and racial animus in handling the case of Sean Diddy Combs. Yeah, it's all because of his race. Yeah. You knew that was coming, didn't you? It's kind of predictable. Also, Kelly Loeffler, President Trump's choice to be the administrator of the Small Business Administration, was confirmed yesterday. So she will oversee the SBA. Divers in Poland have discovered over 220 pounds of cocaine worth $15 million. Where did they find it? At the bottom of the Baltic Sea. This is part of a joint operation by the Polish border guard, DEA, and others. So 7 people were arrested. An organized crime group involved in drug smuggling was dismantled as a result of that. Also, anti-Israel and pro-Israel activists clashed during pro-Palestinian protests, counter-protests outside an Israeli real estate event in Brooklyn earlier this week. Each side accusing the other of violence. Also, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the Toronto Blue Jays have agreed to, he's like a year away from free agency, and he's only known the Blue Jays. He's just 162 games from hitting the free agent market. And so he's already learning how much other clubs might want him. So he's set for free agency about a year from now. There's some folks that are angry because KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC is moving its headquarters out of Kentucky. They'll relocate 100 corporate office employees from Kentucky to the KFC and Pizza Hut headquarters in Texas. So that's expected to happen over the next 6 months. And you've got those in Kentucky with KFC moving out of Kentucky that are, I think it's fair to say, are less than happy about it. Also, stories regarding the Pope. He has bilateral pneumonia. That was announced by the Vatican earlier this week. So he published an update yesterday, the press office issued an update yesterday morning stating that the Pope spent a restful night, woke up, had breakfast. So in other words, it appears he's doing fine. And those are the stories that are trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. 6:57. Clear skies, 11 below. It feels like 26 below. And you're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello. Thanks for letting me join you this morning. Please come back at 9:30 for the 4th hour, or you can catch it at your convenience anytime later today on YouTube. So hope to see you again. Thanks for being here.
With comedian Becky Robinson on her entitled Housewife.
Papers everywhere.
Friday, April 25th. Doors to the Royal Room open at 7 p.m. and the last